Remember this great article? Very long, but I actually read it. If something doesn't interest me, I don't read it. If I don't think it's useful. Otherwise, I definitely do. We gotten a lot of new information from this one. A lot about the CPS reports. What was ongoing. We heard from the neighbor. A car that Thursday night until the early morning hours of Friday kept coming in and out of the property. I don't trust these people. This is a school they went to. Mrs. Jack having a black eye, and he had many. Remember that? This is Malaya's father and grandmother. Jack and Lily. Belinda's holding up the picture. And this is the author, Lindsay Jones. And this hatchet job is from the same author. So, what was added and what was left out? By the way, the toothbrushes were collected from their home, according to this, and not found at the pipeline. What they found in the woods, a sock and children's footprints. I believe Daniel transported the children and lost a few items on the way. And he did so with the ATV. That's how these things got lost. That's why they keep telling us again and again, Daniel never drives the ATV. Yeah, right. According to court documents that also detail the results of their mother and stepfather's polygraph tests. Sure, they wanted to bring this in. They didn't say anything before about that, either way. Because why? Because I think Daniel is their suspect. So they didn't think much of it. So why all of a sudden do they feel the need to tell everybody about the polygraph results, which in my opinion, I've said it 2 months ago. Even if he passed, and most of you thought he didn't pass, and I said, I'm 50-50 on it. Maybe he could have passed because the questions were the wrong ones to ask. He also said he was extremely scared. That could have helped him in terms of creating a false baseline with the control questions. So now they want to promote Daniel, in my opinion. Everything I'm saying is my opinion only. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. And they are adding this. This almost, and by the way, what do you mean boot prints? I thought there was only one print found. This makes it sound like the children had wandered off, doesn't it? 13 court documents filed by police in their continuing major crime investigation obtained by the Globe and Mail divulge the items seized during the search for the young kids from Lansdowne. A lack of evidence pointing to potential criminality at the time. The documents and play-by-play account of the children last hours before the... Let me see it again. 13 court documents filed by police in their continuing major crime investigation and obtained by the Globe and Mail on Thursday. On Thursday, right? Right. On the 20th, Belinda followed her lawyer's advice and gave the RCMP a heads up that she's going to file for guardianship. And the day after, all of a sudden, they obtained the information. Right. Nothing strange about that, right? Nothing strange at all. After silence about the polygraph, saying not one thing, all of a sudden, they come out with this. The highly unusual disappearance of Lily, 6, and her brother Jack, 4, has captured the nation's the nation's attention since the children were reported missing nearly 4 months ago. In the days and weeks following their mother and stepfather's report to police that the children slipped out of the home while they were sleeping, armies of search and rescue teams, police dogs, drones, and helicopters scoured the land and waterways to no avail. Nothing about the suspicions that they had, even according to Daniel. We know you killed them, right? That's what they said. By the way, I'm still waiting for the confirmation that they were the bathtubs. The bathtub was full of water when police arrived. So I will let you guys know more about that if it comes my way, when it comes my way. This sounds like it's just unusual, right? Nothing criminal, just unusual. It's unusual, which is a very unusual way to word it after the first article you had written, Lindsay. The RCMP Nova Northeast Major Crime Unit continues to lead a very active, intensive investigation. Are you sure? Didn't they say that in Tennessee about Sebastian Rogers? With assistance from agencies across Canada, said RCMP spokesperson Cindy Barriers in an email in response to questions on Friday. She said police have not ruled out any scenario or confirmed the circumstances of the children's disappearance. Okay, which continues to be investigated under the Missing Persons Act. She reiterated there is no evidence that the children were abducted. That's Cindy Bayers. No evidence they were abducted, but every possibility is being considered. Oh my God. You see, now they're throwing out all kind of crap and see what sticks. So you basically have your truth, right? You read this, you don't know anything about the case or not too much, and all of a sudden, well, I think this happened. Well, I think that happened. And then all of a sudden, there is no more common denominator or very little. And overall, the public is confused and accepts that this is going to be a mystery rather than something that has to be figured out. Investigators have and continue to receive forensic results which they are assessing, wrote Miss Byers. She declined to disclose specific results due to the continuing investigation. That makes it even more interesting in terms of what they actually cherry-picked to publish here. So, the documents sealed by a provincial court judge in Pictou at the request of RCMP were released to the Globe and other media outlets with some redactions. Remember what I showed you in the video the last time, the huge areas. It looked like almost half was redacted, right? Why?
Children in Pictou County.
Okay, one more time.
6-year-old. Today, we received a slew of documents connected to the investigation into the missing Sullivan children in Pictou.
Received. The police, a day after, I told you.
County. 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack vanished more than 3 months ago. Hundreds of pages of just released court documents shed light on what police discovered. CTV late anchor Bruce Frisco has been pouring through it all and joins us with more in the News Center. Bruce? Well, Todd, the information, as you say, is contained in court applications filed by investigators for permission to conduct searches for things like phone records, banking records, video related to the case. This is all standard procedure. We're told a lot of the documents are heavily redacted, look just like this, a
Look
lot
at
of stuff
this.
censored out, but they do include unproven statements made by police, their impressions on what they found. So, some basic facts: the children reported missing
Okay, let's hear it.
first at 10 a.m. on May the 2nd from their home in Lansdowne Station by their mother, Malaya Brooks Murray. Police were at the trailer at 10:27 that day. She told the cops she believed the children had wandered away from home, but the exact time for that is redacted. Lie detector tests were administered to the mother.
Why has it been redacted? I tell you why. Because it will only lead to conflicting statements between Janie, Daniel, and Malaya. And that's what they want to remove. They want to remove suspicions away from Daniel and Malaya and Janie, in my opinion. Nothing to see here. Go home.
And the stepfather on May the 12th, and both passed. An officer noted, quote, at this point, in the
Now, it depends on what the questions are, whether you can consider something. What did they pass for? We need the exact questions. We already got 2 out of 4. I said before, 2 months ago, the 2 questions, the wrong questions to ask.
investigation, Jack and Lily's disappearance is not believed to be criminal in nature. More polygraphs.
Intention detection. They want us to think. Well, they just said it. This is incredible.
Were administered in June to the
So they're removing anything, any of the many, many, many things in the document. And in addition, in the old article from Lindsay Jones, that makes the vast majority of the population suspicious, highly suspicious, especially of Daniel, who stopped answering questions, according to Lindsay Jones. These articles are still up, people, and I have covered them in previous videos of mine. So feel free to access them again, stop the video and look at them, because the contrast will hit you hard.
children's biological father, and he passed. But when police attempted the same test on the children's step grandmother, they found the test ineffective. I'm quoting again. Her physiology was not suitable for analysis, and an opinion on the polygraph
Yet they took the exam with her.
examination was not rendered. End quote. The documents also confirm police found.
Isn't it nice? Wouldn't it be nice if you could fail at an exam and then it doesn't count? Beautiful.
Lily's blanket about a kilometer away from the house a day after the disappearance, but a sniffer dog couldn't pick up any scents around
That's because the wind blew it away from somewhere else.
it. A couple of days later, police found a piece of the same blanket in the garbage at the end of the driveway.
They didn't find it. Daniel showed it to them, and I don't believe he threw it away a week before.
Now, perhaps the most compelling piece of evidence came from a woman named Natasha Hayward.
Wrong. This is absolutely. What did you call it? Evidence?
Now, perhaps the most compelling piece of evidence came from a woman named Natasha.
No, that's not evidence. I don't think Lily had pigtails, and Lily is not 9 or 10 years old.
Natasha Hayward, who told police she saw.
I cannot even listen to this. This is all deception overload, people. The documents sealed by a provincial court judge and picked up the request were released to the Globe and other media outlets with some redactions, the reason for which, you see, they say the reason for which they feel the need to persuade us of why. Personal information, privileged information, and delayed disclosure. Privileged information. You're not privy to it, right? or pervy to it, like Chris Proudfoot would say. They show the Mounties made 12 applications under the Missing Persons Act to access copies of records that contain information about Jack and Lily. One was for the cell phone records of both Malaya Brooks Murray, the children's mother, and Daniel Mattel's stepfather. A second was for school bus video surveillance around the children's home. So they're mentioning where they found nothing. Other applications were to request Malaya and Daniel's bank records. Daniel, by the way, he didn't even take his phone with him when he went down there. And he felt the need to mention that too. When he went down there to the pipeline, he didn't want to be tracked. He didn't want nobody to know where he went. He didn't want law enforcement to know, in my opinion. Other applications were to request Malaya and Daniel's bank records and other files under the control of companies. Well, that didn't result in anything, right? And why would it? Think about it. It happened Thursday night, in my opinion, and it was done with in the early morning hours of Friday. So, what do bank records have to do with this? The names of which were redacted. The documents say the information is requested because the last time Jack and Lily's location was independently verified was on May 1. Yeah, we know about this. So, you see, the important information we need about the CPS records, things like that, what the school said, how the kids were not taken care of, how they had black eyes, drama in the house, all of these things, horrible living conditions, none of that. They were seen there, yes, but this could assist the investigation by helping police to identify further investigational avenues and leads and possibly lead to the location of the children. No, this won't lead there. The bank records will not lead there, wrote RCMP Corporal Charlene Curl in a partially unsealed affidavit. Partially unsealed, exactly. They made sure they unsealed the certain parts. Both Malaya and Daniel's polygraph examination results on May 12 showed that they were truthful when answering 4 questions. When answering 4 questions, what were the questions? That were redacted as privileged information. And that's the bullshit exactly that I'm talking about. The questions need to be known. Otherwise, it's a disregard. Either way, with the wrong questions, you can easily get away with it, or you can also uh, have a um, false positive for deception. It happened before that people who were completely innocent failed the polygraph test. And if you ask the wrong kinds of questions, do you feel responsible? Do you feel responsible for the disappearance of your child? So one woman, she failed and she had nothing to do with it, but she felt responsible. She said no, and then she failed because she does feel responsible. She could have done more. She was not paying enough attention to her daughter. She was not. She was too busy with her own life. That's how she felt. So when you ask about feelings, it's harder to lie, in my opinion. Malaya willingly agreed to undergo a polygraph examination in relation to this investigation in an effort to eliminate her as a suspect in causing her children's disappearance and possible murder, said the documents, referring to statements made by Sergeant Chris Dahl, who conducted her polygraph test. Possible murder, right? Remember, Daniel introduced several times murder in that interview with Kayla and the death of Lily and Jack. Everything was pertaining to the death of Lily and Jack. He accepted that they're no longer with us. He knows. Other members of the family also took polygraph tests, and as late as mid-July, investigators said at this point in the investigation, Jack and Lily's disappearance is not believed to be criminal in nature. Complete nonsense. Complete nonsense. Now, I will get to it in a minute. However, Corporal Curl notes in a May 23 affidavit that the case may progress to being criminal should the elements of criminal offense be identified. So, yeah, if they get the right evidence, they get the bodies, we'll take him in. Don't worry about that. But if we don't have anything new, we're going to kick back and make some statements here and tell you guys that you are just a little bit too eager to make this a criminal case. Can you guys see? Jeez. Is that better? Okay, let's see. I'm not going to do it again. However, Kerr notes, okay, another court document shows that police seized the children's toothbrushes from their home and the blanket from a trash bag at the end of the driveway that matched the piece of Lily's blanket seized by police 1 kilometer away from the home in a tree. Police have said Lily's blanket has been sent for forensic testing. Well, great. How long is it going to take? That's been a while, right? Why not talk more about that? Clumps of boot prints in two different sizes, including a child. So the other was an adult, right? Has it been compared to Daniel? Were found on the pipeline in the area in the first few days of the search, the document said. Well, the first few days, great, but didn't Daniel immediately go there already on Friday? Other seizures included indent impression casting, typically used to gather casts of footprints or fire tracks, scat, which police say could be human or animal, and a sock of a piece of purple fabric. Well, forensic testing, people, what's up? How can this still be so vague? It's been, what, over a month since they tested the blanket? The results are in, people. Why are they not sharing them? The court documents show that Malaya provided multiple statements to police, including a detailed description of May 1, the day before the children were reported. And by the way, I saw some comments where people said, well, like, how can people from the United States talk about how they do investigations in Canada because we have a different way of doing it, this and that. Well, I agree, I understand that, but you know what? When it comes down to it, I'm looking at evidence. I'm looking at facts only. I'm not looking at procedures as much. Procedures can hurt and hinder and help investigations. In this case, I think whatever the police did, they were not properly held accountable for their actions and inactions. That's what I think. And they don't feel any need to give information of any sort until Belinda mentions she's going to file for guardianship. And that way, there will be Malaya and Daniel on the stand, ask questions about what happened to Jack and Lily. CPS case, the CPS documents, at least some of them will be revealed, I believe. And law enforcement's actions and inactions. And I think that's when they become very much, that's when they get into damage control mode completely and shut down completely. Except they handpicked a few things that they wanted the public to hear. The court documents show that Malaya provided multiple statements to police, including a detailed description of May 1, the day before the children were reported missing. She kept Jack and Lily home from school because they had coughs. Everyone woke around 9 a.m.? What? May 1, right? May 1 was Thursday, the day before the children were reported missing. She kept Jack and Lily home from school because they had coughs. Everyone woke around 9, okay, and the kids played and watched television while she got them breakfast and tidied the house. She tidied the house? What kind of horse shit is that? The house was in atrocious condition. This is a hatchet job, people. They're trying to give the impression that these were good parents and did what every other parent did too. This is absolutely incredible. The choice of wording. Around noon, she, Daniel, their toddler Meadow, Jack, and Lily drove to New Glasgow in Malaya's 2017 white Nissan Pathfinder. They stopped for gas, possibly went to Tim Hortons, and went to a Starbucks drive-through. Yeah. Malaya said they visited Dollarama and purchased items using Daniel's bank card before going to a pharmacy. Also interesting, she had a it's not that new. It's 8 years old, but still, it's not a you know there is something about the wording here about making it appear like it's just a average family, right? Have a decent car, and maybe they went to Tim Hortons. Okay, maybe not, right? Daniel's bank card. Yep, the man in the house, the responsible guy, using his card to a pharmacy. But of course, they also mentioned this because it can be checked and we know the exact time. Daniel also said they stopped at Acropole Pub and Grill to pick up protein. That night, Malaya told police she fed Jack and Lily supper. First, we hear about this. After which, the kids watched television and possibly went outside to play. My goodness, they wouldn't have noticed if the kids went outside to play? Janie and Daniel supposedly were outside, working on a fence, right? And she, Malaya, wouldn't know if they went outside? That's what she told police, right? That night, Malaya told police she fed. That in itself is strange, people. They would know. She would know. Especially having said she never, you know, remember the first one, the first interview. They wore the same clothes to bed they'd worn during the day. Okay, there at least it's getting a little bit strange. But Lily in a pink sweater, pink pajamas with white shapes, a Barbie top, and pink socks. Okay, she had a pink sweater, pink pajamas with white shapes. Wait a minute. They wore the same clothes to bed they'd worn during the day. Lily wore pajamas during the day, a Barbie top. Okay, Lily in a pink sweater, pink pajamas with white. And then on top of the sweater, she had a Barbie top and pink socks. Jack in black sweatpants, a t-shirt, and diaper. He had a diaper on. Malaya told police she'd been too tired to unpack the clean laundry she'd done at her grandmother's the previous night. Of course, too much work for her. I can see that. From what I understand, what the condition of the house was like, yeah. The following night still didn't do nothing. It sounds like Malaya. from what I've learned. The children were tucked into bed around 10 p.m. Jack with his blanket and dinosaur. What, a toy dinosaur or what? Jack with his blanket and dinosaur. Tucked into bed. Make it sound and seem very loving, right? So Daniel said he was outside, had nothing to do with it. So Malaya actually tucked them in. Is that what she would do? Not from what I understand. I think well, how do you know she tucked them in? Now she is getting way ahead of herself. She's not quoting Malaya. And this is a part that I do not find credible. Because I believe it all happened Thursday night. In that room that went quiet all of a sudden. She shut the children's bedroom door and then she and Meadow went to bed. What did Daniel say? The light switch, he turned it on and off, the light switch at the door. So he had to open the door. I need to go look at this again. Daniel stayed up, she told police. She was not woken up throughout the night and did not know when Daniel came to bed. On May 2nd, around 6:15 a.m., Malaya marked the children absent from school due to illness or black eye. According to the documents, Lily was seen by her mother and stepfather when she came into their bedroom that morning. Jack had not been seen since the night before, though both parents told police they heard him playing. Yeah, right. The script, that's the script. They got it down. Almost verbatim. Malaya said she heard the kids laughing in the next bedroom. It woke up Meadow, who was sleeping in a crib in Malaya's bedroom. Malaya brought her into bed and turned the TV on before fading in and out of sleep. It's always very convenient, right? In and out of sleep. I was asleep for this, but that something else, I can tell you 100%. I was awake for that part. It's very good to have selective memories. Same with Janie. Same with Daniel. Sometime between 8 a.m. and 9:40 a.m., the children left the house. Malaya told police according to the documents. Well, at least Malaya is being referenced as the one providing this misinformation. In her fifth statement to police, provided May 9, Malaya said Daniel opened the front door to go looking for the kids. What was this other? Didn't he say he went through the back door before? I think I talked about this already, right? Please feel free to leave a comment about that because I know he said something about the back door. It wouldn't be the first inconsistency, anyways. So I'm going to continue for now. He put a wrench on top of the door the night before and it didn't fall down. So Daniel said they must have gone out the back sliding door. Okay. Yeah, the wrench. How did they get hurt, people? If it's true there was water in the tub when the police got there, interesting. Very interesting, that would be. And the wrench, that's chaotic Daniel for you. Daniel confirmed the saying he does that most nights because a bear used to hang around outside. Daniel told police he and Malaya got up and looked for the kids both by car and on foot. He told police that while searching the woods, he thought he heard a scream that sounded like Jack and Lily, but when he stopped to listen, a helicopter, oh how convenient, overheard, drowned out all other sounds. Right. Right. You would have heard them, but nobody would have found them, right? With all the searches. Complete nonsense. The documents also show that RCMP sought camera footage of the Kobe Kid pass from a toll plaza on the Trans Canada Highway. He didn't go by car. He used the back roads with the ATV to get rid of Jack and Lily. Between May 1 at 2:25 p.m. and May 3 at 3 a.m. May 3? That would be the day after. Okay. Police have received hundreds of tips from the public, including a report highlighted in the documents from a witness who told highlighted. This nonsense is highlighted. Highlighted. Who told RCMP that she saw two children walking along the road not far from the home of Jack and Lily on the morning of their disappearance. Natasha Haywood, who filed her report on May 31, almost a month after the disappearance, described seeing a young girl holding a young boy's hand, and they were walking toward a Caucasian woman around 50 to 60 years old with a loose curl haircut, waiting with the rear door open on an older model tan or gold sedan. You know what? Let me go to the next one. Okay, so Jack and Lily Sullivan, age 6, Lily, height, shoulder length, light brown hair with bangs, no pigtails. Last seen wearing. By the way, are they mentioning that? She described the boy as having dirty blonde hair and wearing shorts, while the girl had darkish hair in pigtails and wearing a tank top with blue strings. It's not them. It wasn't them. Why are they mentioning something so stupid? And who would be the 50, 60? Who are people now thinking about? Malaya's mother? No. Who knows who people are thinking about now? This should never be in this article, people. This has no bearing on anything. This was not Jack, and this was not Lily. Are they mentioning the ages? No, they leave this part out in this article. Surprise, surprise. Police are working to determine if the children were indeed Jack and Lily according to the documents. Well, at least they're mentioning a recent Globe story described the children's home life prior to their disappearance, including admissions of drug use by Daniel, controlling behavior, signs of potential abuse, and neglect regarding the children, the involvement of child protection, social workers, and financial struggles. Okay, I stand corrected here. She mentioned it in the end. Good for her. But still, in their interviews with police, both Daniel and Malaya said they did not resort to physical discipline. He hit the children all the time. I believe Wade. And Malaya, was she asked if he hit the children? I remember. Okay, back to the description. Shoulder length, light brown hair with bangs. Last seen might be wearing a pink sweater, pink pants, and pink boots. And Jack, he was only wearing blue dinosaur boots. That's all they had. And now it says they wore the same clothes to bed they'd worn during the day. Lily in a pink sweater, pink. You've seen it before, right? All of a sudden, they have this. But what else was in there? So this is a very similar one from CTV News. So maybe, who's the author here? Let me see. Maybe Lindsay is not as, okay, this is Keith Doucette and Sita somebody. Uh, so maybe Lindsay didn't want to go all the way with this, because here is what really bothers me. One of the documents says that on May 3, um, police received a report that Jack and Lily might be with their biological father. Sounds very official, right? Police received a pair of messages about this early on, May 3rd, but the report notes the caller, who was unnamed, did not have any proof, and she just wanted to make sure every possibility is looked into. According to the request for Corbicate Pass toll plaza bills, Malaya later reported to police that she thought Cody Sullivan, Lily and Jack's biological father, might have picked up them and taken them to New Brunswick. Why are they mentioning that? Because Cody is cleared, unlike Daniel. He was told, we're not going to look at you anymore. And it was Malaya or one of her friends who made this claim. By the way, at least here in this one, they mention Haywood said she thought the girl was around 9 to 10 years old and the boy 5 years old, the documents say. And pigtails. It wasn't him. It wasn't them. So why are they mentioning Cody Sullivan? Police later met with Sullivan on May 22nd. The court document said he told police he had been in a relationship with the mother but had not seen her nor the children in 3 years. He said he paid child support, contrary to what Brooks Murray had told police. He said he did not know what happened to Jack and Lily, police noted. He was home on May 2nd and never goes anywhere. He has not been anywhere other than his house recently and has had no contact with Malaya since the children went missing. So, is this a warning shot to Belinda? As in, if you go too far with this, we're going to talk about Cody? If you don't know about this case and you read this, you may think, huh, I'm not sure. Hasn't seen him in 3 years? Doesn't make sense. Maybe he's lying about that. He never goes anywhere? I don't believe it either. You know what I mean? This is really, really, always think about when you read any type of article, how do you think it will impact the public? Not how it impacts you, but what types of seeds are being planted. And maybe I am here a little, no, I think this is exactly what it is. Let's bring up Cody. She wants to do something that may expose our mistakes. Huh. Let's bring him up and at least mention that he was a suspect at one point. Nothing is done by coincidence, people. Absolutely not. So, so I'm just looking real quickly what else they have in here. Yeah, Daniel. Maybe you got lucky this time. Maybe you did. But point is made, you know? not criminal in nature. Are people actually that gullible and change and flip flop so easily? Let me see what I missed.
Two children walking along the side of the road on May 2nd. They were holding hands, she said.
I can't
she said
even
the boy
listen to
had
this.
dirty blonde hair, was wearing shorts with blue soul, who was waiting. And
see, this is even worse because most people don't really read, right? But they listen to this horse shit right now. This is incredible. This false tip they are using for a reason, people, to put the public at ease. Oh my goodness. And who benefits? Okay, guys. Sorry about my early departure earlier, but when the news came about Emmanuel Harrow, I thought there was a significant new finding and I had to get right to it. But hey, I will fill you in as soon as I get more information.